Every September, Apple fans brace themselves for the same routine. A new iPhone, a slightly refreshed Apple Watch, and a handful of software tweaks that feel more like maintenance than innovation. But every few years, one product in Apple's lineup breaks that pattern completely, and right now, all signs point to the Apple Watch Ultra for being exactly that kind of release. This isn't shaping up to be a small spec bump. According to a growing pile of supply chain reports, analyst notes, and leaked component details, the Apple Watch Ultra 4 could be the biggest redesign the Ultra line has seen since it first launched back in 2022. To understand why this matters, you have to look at the timeline. The original Apple Watch Ultra launched in 2022. The Ultra 2 came a year later in 2023, with only minor internal changes. Then Apple skipped a full Ultra 3 refresh in 2024, before finally releasing the Apple Watch Ultra 3 in September 2025 with a larger always-on display, satellite communication, 5G connectivity, and, for the first time, hypertension notifications built directly into the wrist. That's 4 years without a real physical redesign. And according to multiple supply chain sources, that streak is about to end. The Apple Watch Ultra 4 is expected to arrive this September, most likely on the same stage as the iPhone 18 Pro lineup, following Apple's usual pattern of showing off its best phone and best wearable together. Let's start with what most people are asking about first: price. Nobody wants to hear that their favorite rugged smartwatch is about to get more expensive, and unfortunately, this time the signs aren't as reassuring as they've been in past years. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 currently starts at $799 or €799 depending on region, and several analysts now expect the Ultra 4 to land above that price point. The reasoning isn't about profit margins for the sake of it. It's tied directly to the new sensor hardware and the redesigned titanium case Apple is reportedly building for this generation. More components, more advanced sensors, and a new chip generally mean higher manufacturing costs, and Apple has historically passed at least some of that along to the buyer on major redesign years. Speaking of that redesign, this is where things get genuinely exciting. Ever since the very first Ultra launched, the most common complaint hasn't been about performance or battery life. It's been about size. The Ultra is a big, heavy watch, and for anyone with smaller wrists, it can feel like strapping a small brick to your arm. Multiple reports, including detailed breakdowns from supply chain analysts, indicate Apple is finally addressing this. The Apple Watch Ultra 4 is rumored to feature a titanium case that's roughly 15% thinner than the current Ultra 3. That's not a subtle shift. That's a case redesign significant enough to change how the watch feels on a daily basis, especially overnight. A huge number of Ultra owners skip sleep tracking entirely because the current design feels too bulky in bed. A meaningfully thinner case could finally make round-the-clock work comfortable enough that sleep tracking, temperature monitoring, and overnight heart data become something people actually use instead of ignore. Making a rugged sports watch thinner without sacrificing durability is not a simple engineering task. You still need titanium strong enough to survive drops, sapphire or reinforced crystal over the display, and enough internal volume for a battery that lasts through ultramarathons and multi-day expeditions. But if Apple pulls this off, and current reporting suggests they're close, it would represent the most significant physical shift in the Ultra's identity since launch. Alongside the thinner body, leaks point to slimmer bezels and a brighter display. Rather than dramatically increasing the physical size of the watch, Apple appears to be focused on shrinking the black borders around the screen, which gives you more usable display space inside roughly the same footprint. Reports also mention a display capable of reaching around 3,200 nits of peak brightness, building on the Ultra 3's already class-leading 3,000 nit LTPO3 panel. If accurate, that would make the Ultra for the brightest smartwatch display on the market by a meaningful margin, which matters enormously for anyone using it outdoors on a bike, on a trail, or underwater where harsh sunlight typically washes out smartwatch screens entirely. Now let's talk about health tracking, because this is where the Apple Watch Ultra 4 could genuinely separate itself from every other smartwatch on the market. The Ultra 3 already introduced hypertension notifications last year, using the optical heart sensor to analyze how blood vessels respond to each heartbeat over rolling 30-day windows, flagging users who show consistent signs of chronic high blood pressure. It doesn't give you an exact number like a medical cuff would. Instead, it works more like the sleep apnea detection Apple introduced in 2024, quietly watching for a pattern and alerting you if something looks off. According to the World Health Organization, hypertension contributes to roughly 13% of deaths globally, and it's frequently called a silent condition because most people feel completely normal until it becomes serious. For the Ultra 4, reports suggest Apple isn't stopping there. Leaked details point to a completely redesigned sensor array on the back of the watch, doubling the number of optical sensors compared to the Ultra 3, potentially arranging as many as 8 individual sensors in a ring pattern against the skin. That's a meaningful shift from algorithmic estimation toward genuinely more direct physiological measurement, which could improve the accuracy of everything from heart rate during intense workouts to sleep stage tracking and recovery scoring. Under the hood, performance is also getting a serious push. The Apple Watch Ultra 4 is expected to ship with a new S11 chip, following the naming pattern Apple has used for its wearable silicon for years. A newer chip doesn't just mean faster benchmarks. It changes how the entire interface feels day to day. Apps open faster, complex views like offline maps render without stutter, and background health analysis runs more efficiently, which matters enormously for battery life. And this pairs directly with watchOS 27, the next major software update expected to ship alongside the new hardware.